Hey guys, what's growing? It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm, and today we're going to do a June farm tour. So the sun is out. Amazing! I mean, there's still fog high, but it's finally blowing out of here. It is, I don't know, like 10:30 in the morning. So that's so nice to see some sun. It's been so dark and gray here for so many weeks. Now it's still chilly. It is 62 degrees Fahrenheit right now. And that's still pretty chilly, especially for things like zinnias and stuff. They want it to be in the 70s, but having sun, what an amazing thing. So let's do a farm tour. I haven't been here in a couple of days because I've been busy with other stuff. So while we're doing this farm tour, as usual, I'm gonna make some mental notes about what I need to do. After the farm tour, I am gonna be transplanting. I have a couple of trays of seedlings that need to go in the high tunnel. And you know, those definitely need to get in because they're running out of nutrition in those blocks. And even the fish emulsion isn't doing anything. So they need to get in the ground and it's time. So let's go do a quick farm tour and I'll show you what's going on. Starting first here in the greenhouse, I need to give these guys some water, but there are still a couple of varieties of lilies left. We have Orange Tiger, Lotus Queen, and Stargazer. Now, these guys had suffered some weirdness here earlier in the season, but they look great now. So I think we're still gonna get some good blooms off of them. We shall see, but they are still quite a ways away from producing flowers. These guys, same kind of thing. Oh, see, oh no, I thought that was droop from necessary. I thought that was droop from needing water, but it's not. That's the way they're growing. But you can see all the flower buds here, but they're still not ready. Probably gonna be 2 more weeks on these guys. Oh, and by the way, you're gonna see messes everywhere because that's real life on a farm. I don't tidy things up before I take you guys on a tour. Just keeping it real. So, all right, let's start with the Wildflower Patch. Here's the Wildflower Patch. Now these are all California native wildflowers, with the exception of a couple of things in here. There is some Solidago in the middle there, which is taking some time to grow. And then, of course, lots of weeds. Now that's a mustard, that yellow. That is an invasive species. It's just ubiquitous. This thistle here is also an invasive species. So easy to pull out the mustard because there's no thorns, and then of course these super tall grasses need to go as well. But for the most part, I don't mind that this is wild looking because that is what a California native prairie looks like. It's wild. And the whole point of this was to attract native pollinators. So I think it's doing its job. Okay, and then progress on the arch. So these guys are growing slowly but surely. Now that the sun is out, and hopefully it will stay out, they'll start putting on more growth. And the nasturtiums have come up in the pots. These are climbing nasturtiums. They need water today. Now these we just planted a couple days ago, and look, they're already coming up. Excellent. All these beans and sunflowers. That's so funny because the beans aren't up yet over here. The sunflowers are coming up. Now, this mess back here, all invasive species. I would normally have mowed this whole area down. I just haven't had the time or frankly the energy. So I was gonna tarp it, but I'm not planting that anytime soon. This bed, I haven't done anything with either. Still waiting for all the daffodils to finish dying off. I don't know if I'll plant it up. This bed is Monarda from last year that got eaten by the deer and I thought was dead, but actually came back. So there's Monarda and Penstemon and just random crap in here. I'm not worried about how it looks. I'm not having any events here anytime soon. Unfortunately, I had to cancel the U-pick for this weekend. It was supposed to happen on Saturday because there's just nothing to pick. But hopefully that will change now that the sun has started to come out. Now all of this stuff back here is poison hemlock and grasses and stuff. All of this needs to come out, and what I do with that is I just string trim it because it is like deep buried in there. It's real hard to get out and super pokey and just not safe. So I basically just string trim it and have to keep repeating that multiple times a year. Okay, into the high tunnel. So here's our beautiful Sweet Annie. The scent on this, I know I always say that, but it's just amazing. And this, surprise, so I direct sowed some snapdragons apparently, and I totally forgot about them. I direct sowed a bunch of stuff in here and I thought nothing came up. And it was really just because it was so far behind time-wise. There are some mums back here that I had extra, so I planted them out up here, and that's fine. This is a poppy of some sort. We'll find out when it comes up. So dahlias starting to come up very nicely. I believe this one's Cafe au lait. Yeah, so we're gonna have some later season snapdragons, which will be nice. These are all dahlias in here, and actually I need to pinch very, very soon. This one I already did pinch, so I came in here and I pinched out the central stem. Now what that does, what pinching does on any plant, is encourages it to put on side shoots. Because you know, plants, their only purpose in life is to produce flowers, set seed, or at least flowering plants, and that's how they reproduce. So once they produce flowers and set seed, then they die if they're annuals. So if you pinch, that will produce more side shoots and you'll get a lot more stems with flowers. More weeding to be done back here of these nasty thistles. They're just so aggressive. But we'll get to it when we get to it. Back here is Saskatoon White Mums. They will be ready in the early fall, but they're looking great, super healthy. I'm happy with that. Still has some more weeding to do. This giant mustard that I keep trying to dig out, but it's just, the taproot on it is so, so deep. All right, and then this bed that we flipped, it used to be ranunculus. Now we have Gypsophilia, which is baby's breath, Covent Garden here, and we've got sunflowers here because I had extras. And then we have basils coming through here. These are all the decorative ones, and then we have all this bed space right here that's going to get zinnias today from our next succession, and then there's zinnias up here that I planted about a week or so ago. Okay, so this bed status, as you can see, still producing, and of course I totally forgot to put flower support netting in here over the winter, and you know, these guys are looking okay, but you see this one fell over here, so that makes them turn towards the sun, so you get super crooked stems, which is not what you want. So I am going to be installing the flower support netting in here for the stuff that's now coming up for summer, because that will definitely need it. We've got a stand of Orlea just starting here, which is good because the one at home is starting to peter out. We've got some Amimagus here, and then open bed space, which is great because I have a whole bunch of seedlings that are ready to go in. Still need to do some more weeding. This is just a constant thing here. These thistles, really deep tap roots, and then we have some of these wild sweet peas, which are, sounds nice, but it's not. They have runners, and so they're really hard to get out. You just have to keep pulling to get rid of them. But they'll take over a bed if you don't stay on top of it. Okay, so lots of bed space for transplanting. Back here, which is a shadier part of the high tunnel actually, we've got, looks like Daucus potentially, and then, let's see, here's more of this sweet pea. Even though it's in the pathway, I want to pull it up because it will quickly move over to the bed. Oh, there's a little ladybug right there. Okay, we've got some feverfew here, which is really far behind, some about to go, and then more Sweet Annie, which I can harvest. This is starflower. So it's a scabiosa species. So you look right there and you think, oh, that's the harvest stage. But actually, this is the harvest stage. Isn't that so cool? I love these. They're so textural, just really, really fun. So, and I totally forgot that. I'd been harvesting them at this stage, just forgetting that they were a starflower, and just taking them as a scabiosa. And then I noticed that some that I had let go were like this, and I thought, oh yeah, that's why I planted them. So cool, so fun. All right, we do have some actual scabiosa here. I don't even know, because I didn't label it, of course. I don't know what variety this is, but we'll know at some point. And then more Orlea, more Amimagus, and some strawflower, which is not yet ready to harvest. And this is just in the aisle from last year, more Ami. All of this Dianthus, it's finally growing. I just feel like it's taking up too much bed space, but you know what? We'll leave it for a while. Somebody commented that it took a lot longer the first time she grew it than she expected as well. And so I think her advice was good. I will give it a shot because I don't need this part of the bed right now. I think I have enough bed space for the stuff I need to plant. And then this is, let's see, what do we got here? Because I can't remember. Oh, these are asters. Those stems should be way taller. This is also an aster, tower yellow. That should be a lot taller than it is, but it is what it is. Now in the upper field, we have installed flower support netting on 2 of the beds. I don't usually put it on the sunflower beds because it's really challenging to deal with sunflowers, and they grow so fast, so I just pretty much usually leave that off. But you'll see over here where I planted sweet peas in the very early spring, they've come up along with all this mustard. And then that is a native mallow on the ground there, totally encroaching on these beds. This is, it's a nightmare. They're coming in here almost daily, hand weeding. But you can see where it has totally started to take over. And this is a sharp thistle. Yep, see, encroaching in this bed. So that's another job for today. Pull this stuff out. The sweet peas look beautiful though, and you know what's hysterical? They haven't gotten, I never put irrigation on here. I never ended up irrigating this area. And I've noticed this in my home garden a couple years ago too. They grew without water, which is so weird to me. Yeah, but they're beautiful. Okay, so in this bed, this is all, it just makes me so angry to see all these weeds. And I was literally just out here doing this on Sunday. We cleared this bed. This is 5 days of growth. All right, so that's gonna be my next job when I finish this video. These are all decorative grasses, which I rely heavily on in bouquets. Lots of really pretty ones in here. And then we have the amaranths that are really starting to come up, which is great. I didn't know how they were gonna do. I've got some winged demobium and then also mahogany splendor hibiscus. That's what these little red guys are, which is a beautiful plant. I really enjoyed it last year. So yeah, need to do a super weeding job in here. So these are amaranth hot chili, Eschberg, hot biscuits, green cascade, and Mira. And then the one up here, which not everything took, is coral fountain. So yeah, amaranth is a really fun bouquet inclusion. These are not single stem sunflowers, they are branching sunflowers, but I just have a small collection of them right up front, which I will harvest on all season once they start blooming. And then we have finished out this bed with our most recent succession here. This is all we can fit in this bed. These are dahlias from last year that are coming up, and of course I'm not going to bother them, I'm going to leave them there. So you can see how they get bigger as you move through each succession. That's what you want to see. So I've been harvesting off these in the back here, and we're almost cleared out of this part of the bed. And then what I'll do is I'll probably put another succession in back here and just keep moving through. Now these are not really weeds. Well, these guys are for sure, but this is Amimagus left over from last year. But you see how short it is? I was just gonna leave it, but it's super short, so I'm gonna go on and pull it up. There's no point in letting something, you know, take over here. Now, These are all sunflower stems because I cut them off at the base. I'm not pulling those up. I will let them decompose in place. They not only feed the soil, but they create oxygen and water channels for all the soil microbiology. So it's really important to leave your roots in the ground if possible. So I'm going to reseed this area, direct sow more sunflowers after I finally harvest out all the rest of these. Now these are looking really, really good. These are a later succession. These will probably be the next ones to come up. I don't even know which ones these are. Let's see. Looks like White Knight, Pro Cut White Knight. And then these, I love, 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 and I can't wait. These are Sunflower Steve's Van Gogh mix, and they're gonna be so, so cool. Yeah, so those are lovely. I can't wait to, I had a very limited amount of seed. I have a little bit more that I'm gonna put in. Probably will end up direct sowing them back there. All right, final bed in the upper field. Zinnias. They are finally starting to look like they're putting on some growth. This is a chamomile that escaped from this bed down here. And even though it's in the wrong bed, I love it and it's not causing any problem. This is a weed that I need to pull out, but these zinnias are looking good. Now, here's something. So I spoke earlier about how I was not going to pinch because I didn't want to slow down the flowering. However, that's a flower bud. This is like 5 inches tall. I do not want that flowering because it will be a super short stem. So I'm going to pinch that. So that is, yes, it's going to delay flowering, but now I'm going to get side shoots. So I'm going to come through here when we're done and I will pinch off any super short flower stems that I see because there's no point in letting a plant flower if it's going to be 5 inches tall. I might as well delay that a bit and actually get some height on those stems. Okay, so zinnia's up to about here. There's a scattering of a few that survived in here, but the rest of this is mums for the fall. This is borage. I'll pull that out. Again, that borage is in here because of that borage plant. So the seeds get dispersed and they just pop up everywhere. But it's such a great plant for pollinators. So I love having it around. Yeah, so we've got these are purple mums, and I'm looking forward. I've never grown like long stem, frilly, fancy mums before. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how these turn out. This is, I can't remember. I planted it and I can't remember what it is. I looked it up before, I just forgot. I'll put the name on the screen. But again, really short. I mean, beautiful plant, but really short, not really usable stems. And then this here is ageratum. So this won't bloom for quite a while. That's all right. We'll get some nice stems off of it later in the season. All right, so looking at the backside of the Three Sisters garden, well, backside, I guess. The squash is looking pretty good. Corn is looking good. It's coming up. We've got some nigella in here and leftover bachelor buttons. This was all direct sown with poppies, nigella, bachelor buttons in the early spring, and then didn't do anything until all of a sudden, and we only have a few plants, so it's fine. I'm really excited to see a bunch of flowers starting on these squashes. Which one is this? Magic Lantern squash. It's a pumpkin. I just want this area. Last year we had lots of pumpkins in here and I totally love that. So I'm hoping that will be the case again this year. So yeah, still a lot of space in here, but you know, squashes get big and they spread. So I wanted to have room for them to run. Now here, I planted a bunch of these corms the first year here and not everything, hardly any of them came up, but a few did. And these are so beautiful. These are Crocosmia. This is the variety is Lucifer, and when it starts flowering, I'll show you. It's freesia type flowers, you know, that start blooming. I believe they start here and then they end with the tip. But deep red, really gorgeous plant, and they're really cool in bouquets. This is, you know, the pollinator patch. We've still got some detritus down there from daffodils that I'm not even going to bother getting rid of because it acts as a mulch right now. So our different lavenders are blooming. We've got this euphorbia has come back. That's really pretty, isn't it? The buddleia and, oh no, that's a salvia, sorry. This is the buddleia. And then our calendula, which I have been harvesting on, and a much bigger lavender. So I like to put a variety of lavenders and salvias because they all attract slightly different species, and they bloom at slightly different times. So then that guarantees you have more round the year bloom. Yeah, so I haven't really been harvesting any of the lavender or anything like that. I could, but I haven't. I'm just enjoying it here. And a couple of snapdragons popping up in there, which is really funny. This is a coreopsis. The coreopsis. Look at how happy and healthy this alyssum is. It looked, I thought it was totally dead at the end of last season, but boy, is it happy and healthy. All right. Then we've got just a variety. I sowed a whole bunch of wildflower seeds through here, and so some have come up. I did it mostly in this bed, and you'll see them all popping up through there. Again, these beds I can take some cuttings from if I want to, but for the most part, I'm just trying to attract pollinators and create biodiversity on the farm. But as you can see, poison hemlock. So this is just a constant battle to pull this stuff up, as well as the thistles. But it looks like we've got some, this looks like Phacelia to me. It's not flowering yet. Yeah, so lots of, that's a weed amongst those flowers, but lots of really pretty things in here, and they're delicate flowers. I just really enjoy them. This is a liatris. I have a lot of these in here as well. And this guy is purple, so it'll come up soon and I can use those in bouquets. Here's a Phacelia. We've got those in the home garden. Look at that beautiful flower. More borage, self-sown. Like I said, it you know, spreads by birds and other insects, as well as probably wind as well. All right, this guy, some kind of mint, probably Nepeta. It's got a square stem, so that's why I'm saying that. Not sure the variety. Again, a lot of these were planted early last year. We've got some hyssop in here. This is the nice weed of mustard. Needs to come out. Yeah, so this again, you got to kind of know what you're doing. My husband always says, well, get the kids to come out and weed. I'm like, yeah, but you have to know what's a weed and what's not. I mean, this could be really overwhelming if you don't know what you're looking for. Obviously, something like this is a weed, right? That is not something I want to keep. And I'll have to come in here. I'm going to break the stem to begin with, but then I'll have to come in here and cut it out and try to dig out the taproot. These guys, though, I think this might be a hyssop. I can't remember. It's got a square stem, though, so maybe a salvia as well. I mean, it's in the mint family. We'll see. Yeah, this is why you label things, guys. And I'm terrible at labeling things. We've got more liatris coming up back there. I have been cutting on this stuff. It makes a really cute addition to bouquets. It's very delicate. This borage looks awful. It's fine. It goes through this crazy life cycle, so I need to cut back all of the dead stuff, and then it will just regenerate new stems. This is Scotch broom. Doesn't belong here. Super deep tap roots. I'm gonna have to dig that out. This is Nepeta. Big patch of it here. I just want, so the more you have, you know, ground cover of things that you want, the less you'll have of weeds, which is always lovely. These are just native spurges. They're, you know, they're not terrible, but I don't want them in here because they are not something that I planted. So I'm gonna pull those out, and then that's more poison hemlock needs to come out. Here's some beautiful and delicious smelling chamomile. Look at it there. Oh, just love it. It's so pretty and delicate, but it also smells amazing. And then of course we've got the ever-present Yeah, which now I'm gonna dig that up, mustard in there. Here's some more of the liatris. So this is showing you what I've got coming up that I can harvest bits and pieces of for bouquets. More calendula, and these stems are actually nice and long. So I've been deadheading and continuing to harvest off of that. Pretty much from here on back is all, well, except for the chamomile, is all weed. So need to come in here with the string trimmer and just tear it all down. This is also a weed. I don't know what it is, but for some reason my brain wants to say pigweed. I don't know if that's what that is at all. That's just what popped into my head. Okay, so all of that needs to get cleared out. We've got some white borage here, which is really fun. Usually borage is a blue flower, but I got this white flower variety from Baker Creek, and you know, producing its heart out, attracting lots of pollinators. More calendulas through here, and of course more, you know, weeds, more stuff to pull out. An Artemisia silver mound that survived. Here's Rudbeckia. That's gonna give us flowers this year, which is lovely. There's some penstemon, and then some of the squash that I direct sowed is starting to pop up. We also have weeds in here, but not as many weeds since I covered this with straw. More squash, more liatris, more squash. Yeah, these are winter squashes, I believe. Here's some Sweet William. And then there's more of that beautiful white, oh, look at the bees. That beautiful white borage. The bees are having fun. So that's the state of things on the farm here on June, what is it, 13th? June 15th. Yeah, so normally would be seeing a whole lot more growth from our row crops, but you know, can't control the weather, so it is what it is. Speaking of row crops, it's time for me to go transplant. So I'll set you guys up on a time lapse, and you've seen it before, but enjoy some music, watch some transplanting. That's gonna be it for me today, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I'll be doing a home garden tour, hopefully in the next day or two, with somebody actually, one of my sons actually doing the filming for me so I can be in front of the camera for once. Thanks again for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.